Is the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency sell-off over? We have some statistics to show you that say maybe, just maybe, that sell-off is over. We have Dan from the Chart Guys joining us to break down Bitcoin chart, take a look at some altcoins. Also, we're going to show you a video from BlackRock's head of digital assets, what she had to say, also what Cathie Wood had to say about Bitcoin as an investment. We're going to talk about JP Morgan Chase downgrading Coinbase. Is Coinbase stock a good hedge against what happens in the cryptocurrency market? Sounds like a crazy thing to say, but it just might be. Also, we're going to talk about Avalanche and their $100 million meme coin fund. Who's going to be able to get it and what is going to make you not qualify? We're going to talk about that and much, much more on today's show, Sensitive Crypto List.
Hola! Hey, it's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, stale information, repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy way. Bitcoin over 40K for just a little bit. Now under 40K for just a little bit. Okay.
Is it going to be a little bit?
I think so.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Look very white.
Wow. You are Caucasian.
Whoa.
Wow.
Thank you for that, Rob. Let's start right in. Now, is Bitcoin, is the dump over? Well, we have this from Eric Balchunas. Is it Balchunas or Balchunas? I don't know. Eric B. That's his new name. Senior ETF analyst from Bloomberg. GBTC volume down again today. Could be a sign of some exhaustion in the selling. We'll see tonight, though, and I'm only reporting on shares out data sent by their admin to BBG. Only thing you can 100% trust. And, well, here you go. The volume is starting to taper down. So, is the selling from GBTC over? We'll talk about this as well from the Bitcoin Times, visualizing the first 7 days of trading for the Bitcoin ETF. You can see here, Bitcoin bought by the ETFs, like BlackRock and Fidelity, 112,000. Bitcoin sold by Grayscale, 67,000. So we're almost 2-to-1. And you might be asking, well, then why is the price of Bitcoin going down? All this stuff is happening OTC. It's a lot of people being scared. The Mt. Gox thing, Grayscale thing. So here you go, Robin. You said when this thing first came out, I think it was that Friday when we saw a massive sell-off, and we said, hey, Grayscale, they're dumping their shares. People are dumping their Grayscale shares. You said it would be about 7 to 10 days, which would put us right in that time frame now. Are you still standing by that 7 to 10 days? So is the massive sell-offs, have they subsided?
I mean, Grayscale is not going to go to zero. So at some point it slows to a trickle, and then at some point it, for the most part, just stops, right? And we've discussed why they're not gonna go to zero. There's a lot of tax implications. There's just people that bought a long time ago are in the green. The Grayscale Trust has been around for a while, and so if you've just been holding that and paying the premium, which was around 2% for the fee traditionally before the trust, before it went to an ETF, was around 2%. And so people were paying that on an annual basis, and they've been doing it for years. And so at this point, you're at 1.5% on the fee, and well, you might be way up on Bitcoin or your Bitcoin position. It might not make any sense to sell right now and take a capital gains hit unless it's in a Roth IRA or retirement account. You're going to pay upwards of 20 to 25% on capital gains. And so,
which Grayscale seemingly they could be saying, we're betting on you not pulling the money out, paying 20%. You'll be willing to pay 1.5%. Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious.
It's stupid, but
they're not going to get any new customers. That's a given, right? But I mean, you wouldn't go there as a new customer. You wouldn't look
Correct.
at the 11.
Correct.
But
Correct.
If you already have an account there, I think you'll stay there. I think that just makes sense.
Also, and this is all speculation, right? I think James Butterfield, who joined us on Monday, I think he broke it down pretty well as far as why maybe we're seeing Grayscale not budge on their price, and a lot of it was what Robin alluded to as the tax implications of people selling. Now, there's rumors about Grayscale being sold. They're saying, hey, they're being greedy because GBTC is DCG's cash cow. When we know DCG, I believe they're in bankruptcy court, right? They just paid back Genesis, but there's still a lot of things they have to pay back. And so does Barry Silbert not want to take a massive loss on the revenue that's coming in from GBTC? Is it going to get sold? Who knows what's going to happen? But according to the statistics, the sell-off is slowing down. Also, today we have the Gravy Train joining us. What up?
Gravy Train. Now that's
Ashley, how you doing?
crazy. I'm good. How are you?
We're great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
I just get excited when you're here and Rocco's not here because I'm so tired of that stupid crybaby emoji.
Emoji?
Or that crybaby sound.
That one?
Really? You're fired. Now, I do want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. You want to learn how they can help your business scale, grow, and maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity so you, as a business owner, can focus on making money for your business. Visit BlueWireTech.com or simply click the link in the description of this video. Also, want to put out a APB. Where's Jimmy? Jimmy, we made an emoji for you, and you just disappeared, man. It's a little disappointing.
Should we give the emoji to somebody else?
Oh, we can't do that. Jimmy, he's probably watching this out. Jimmy, I love you. Miss you. All right. Let's bring Dan on the show. So if you're not familiar, every Wednesday, Dan from the Chart Guys joins us. One of my favorite TA people. I have a few. He is one of my favorites. Precise, to the point, easy to understand. We love having him on the show. So Dan, let's bring him on. How you doing, Dan?
Good. How are you?
We're excellent, man. Thank you so much again for joining us, my friend. Before we get into the charts and the markets, I do want to share.
Were you sharing any alpha with Ashley there backstage before you started on charting? She's trying to get into trading.
No, not yet, but I'm open for
Fair
sure.
enough. You know, there's another rising star in the world of trading, and it is. I just want to go and show this. My daughter.
Oh.
Looking
Nice.
at some indicators here. She wanted to go long on dog with hat because she thought it was a cute dog with a hat. Any advice you would give to a new trader here, Dan?
I mean, it's definitely worthwhile to instill some of the fundamentals in terms. I've got friends who have done it with their kids with candy or different treats in Halloween in terms of supply and demand. So it's definitely worthwhile. 5 may be pushing it, but
Fair enough.
who knows?
Listen, don't report me to CPS. She asked me to do it, okay? I did not force her to do it. All right, all jokes aside, I do want to share this. This is from Glassnode. Oh, sorry. Assessing the severity of Bitcoin bull market corrections by cycles, an increased level of resilience can be noted across our current cycle. And it shows you here, and I'll zoom out here so you guys can see. So let's go back to 2015, 2017. We had typical corrections of about 25%. 2019 to 2021 was the second worst year as far as drawdowns. As you can see here, back in 2012 and 2013, we had drawdowns of over 70%, but 50+% drawdowns in 2019 and 2021. And if we take a look at where we are currently, the max drawdown we've seen is around 20%. Dan, what are your thoughts on this? And if you want to talk through it with a Bitcoin chart, but do you think 20 is the max, is going to be the max drawdown, or does the structure of the chart tell you that, hey, we might see another 30-40% drawdown from Bitcoin?
Well, I'm not going to look for another 30-40% to the downside from here, but it makes sense in terms of market cap. The bigger your market cap is, the more liquidity there is, the less volatility there's going to be. So, as these ETFs come online and as we get more and more liquidity in the space, I would expect the drawdowns and also the moves up to get less and less significant. I don't think we're going to see the percentage gains of 2017 again in Bitcoin, at least in that time frame. So I think that it's just telling us that liquidity is increasing, which is a good thing. Well, it depends. If you want to get rich in a couple of years, maybe it's not a good thing. But if you want some more stability, then it is a good thing. Just one more thing to note on your previous discussion. I just saw this tweet where another 19,000 has been sent to I should say, from Grayscale to Coinbase. So
Hmm.
I'm not paying attention too much to this on a day-by-day basis. For me, it's always the price action. And right now, I like the clarity on the 12-hour time frame. I like to identify something where I can say, as long as, just simple statements, as long as EMA 12 is resistance on the 12-hour, nothing is changing, and the bears have control. When we turn that level back into support again, you can see it was support leading into the ETF. Now it's clear resistance. So once that changes, then we'll be more confident saying, all right, it looks like a temporary bottom is in.
Awesome. I'm just looking at while you were going over that, Dan, I was just kind of looking at a lot of people are saying, hey, the Grayscale is sending, because we see send to Coinbase Prime, send to Coinbase Prime. We know Coinbase is the custodian, I believe, for 8 out of the 11. I'm just trying to see if we know for their trust that BNY Mellon was a custodian, but I'm curious if and maybe Rob can find this. Who is the custodian for their spot ETF? Is it still BNY Mellon or is it Coinbase? Because if it is Coinbase, it might make sense as far as oh no, here we go. It is BNY Mellon. No, it's Coinbase. It is Coinbase. Look, it's Coinbase. So could they be taking the Bitcoin, right? Sending it to Coinbase because, hey, these are the shares that people have left, or they're reorganizing from BNY to Coinbase. That could potentially be it as well. So it's not all just selling. And we know that even if it is selling, a lot of that happens OTC. But this is something to just keep in mind, you guys. And then I want to take a look at the rest of the markets here. We got Ethereum at $2,214. Rob and I opened up a long position. Our entry price was around $23.37. Liquidation price is at around $21.21. We are expecting that we're looking at the 1 hour chart. This is on Monday, and we're expecting ETH to get to that 2470 range. What are you seeing on Ethereum? Maybe on the lower and then the higher time frames as well.
So right now, for clarity in both Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm on the 4 hour chart because we had this, nice little bounce on the 4 hour time frame, and I play the zoom out game where all right, we changed the trend on the hourly and we got this bounce going. Now we zoom out. Okay, we've got to change the trend on the 4 hour, and then we'll zoom out and we'll go to the daily, and we'll have to then change the trend on the daily. So it's just one time frame at a time, but in the moment, the 4 hour is where the clarity is. So simple statement, if we're going to see any kind of shift here, ETH has to hold the 2165 low and break 2263. And if we do that, I would then I'd probably go to the daily at that point. Yep, the daily. And, I'd be looking for a target back testing these EMAs. And these EMAs at that point, another day or two could drop a bit lower, but I'd be looking where if we confirm the 4 hour uptrend, we would be looking at, low 2300s, at least as a short-term little target. And just to go to Bitcoin, again, just to show the same thing, 4 hour time frame, nice bounce, got to confirm that trend change. Otherwise, we're not going anywhere. And so the 4 hours where the clarity is heading into tomorrow.
Awesome. What about Solana got all the way down to about $80. It is back up to over 86, up 5.5% over the last 24 hours. What is are we getting ready to see another the Solana trend kick back up again? The uptrend where we saw it go from about $22 to over $100. I'm not saying we're going to see another 10x or another 5x, but are we headed back to the $100 range here on Solana, or do you think there's more downside to come?
On the longer term timeframes, there's no major red flags here. Again, when you go straight up, we know consolidation is going to happen. And this was a stair step where we had a higher low every single week, what felt like forever. And now we got a lower high every single week on the pullback. And so we're going to watch for that pattern to break. We're looking for a weekly higher low as the most likely scenario. I like using EMA 12 as a bit of a visual target. And you can see we pretty much hit 12-hour oversold. So again, talking about backburners, this is first 12-hour oversold conditions since this move got going. And the bulls would love for 12-hour oversold to mark a weekly higher low. Just like Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's the 4 hour where we have to see the next step, the next check mark for the bulls to confirm that 4 hour uptrend. But honestly, at this point, I feel the most likely scenario will be a weekly higher low eventually, ideally holding EMA 12, then a lower high, and then a tightening range. And that's just because of the significant amount of volatility in both directions. We got a lot of space to trade within within that range. So in the short term, I'd be scouting a weekly high or low, and then I'd be scouting an eventual weekly lower high to tighten up. And then, of course, the direction that tightening range breaks, potentially sometime in end of February or March, would let us know if a longer term top is being set, because a weekly downtrend would have to confirm if we're going to say, all right, that's our top for a while.
Awesome. And then, Dan, I'm just going to swap over to my laptop real quick. I'm seeing, this is a crypto bubbles. Over the last day, SUI is up 12.7%, but taking a look at the RSI heat map from CoinGlass, it is one of the few that is in strong oversold or overbought conditions. What is the SUI chart saying? SUI. This is a project that's gotten a lot of hype, a lot of big partnerships. We're actually looking to cover this project more in detail over the next few days. What does that chart look like as far as where it could potentially be headed?
It's definitely looking better than most. We got the clear weekly high or low is attempting to form. I'd be again on the daily chart. So this is very similar. If we just imagine the weekly chart for Solana that we just looked at, this is pretty similar on the daily. And what I would be looking for is, unless we see volume increase here, the most likely scenario for me would be, again, that tightening range. So I'd be watching for the potential of a lower high compared to 145. It's a big enough bounce. I use bounce retracement. And so we could say, all right, this retracement of 65% plus is creating space so that even if we do fail 145 initially, we will look for a higher low compared to where we just came from, $1 psychological. And it's a good sign for the bulls to hold that psychological level on that consolidation and on that back test. So if we're going to set a daily low or high, we zoom into the 4-hour chart and we would need to lose the 4-hour uptrend, which we're not at risk of doing at this point. So just something to keep in mind. We can clearly say that there's relative strength here. The fact that we're up 25% from 2 days ago, and we're not that far from those highs. So it's the kind of thing where, knowing that we're looking for a Bitcoin to try and find at least a temporary bottom, we want to be looking at the altcoins that are showing relative strength, because we can say SUI is positioned well if Bitcoin is able to put in a temporary bottom. And we need a little bit more proof from those Bitcoin bulls. But SUI looks pretty darn good over the last 2 days.
Now, Dan, I know you're pretty plugged into the broader markets. Particularly, I wanted to bring up index funds. S&P 500 checked in another all-time high, gapping up to where it is now. Also, Nasdaq has been absolutely ripping. It's it's been ripping lately. Hasn't quite gotten to the 1,600 points where it was in the previous all-time high, but we like to look at the index funds to see the if there's correlation. There has historically been correlation in the past when it comes to Bitcoin, but for those of our viewers that put a lot into the S&P 500, what is that telling you, or is there anything to take away when it comes to Bitcoin as well for that?
I mean, we got sentiment. Sentiment is strong. As you mentioned, the bulls are in complete control. We're in an uptrend on every single time frame, monthly, daily, weekly. And it's semiconductors. They have just been on an absolute tear. NVIDIA's been leading the way up. But, I mean, no matter, it's blue sky. AMD is blue sky breakout. SMCI. These are all just names that initially got their bump last year for the AI boom or the AI narrative. And they have just followed through so significantly. And you look at these, some of these longer term charts, and they based out for a while, and now they're just taking the next leg up. And so the semiconductors are driving the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ is driving the S&P 500 in terms of, how these holdings impact each other. But as you mentioned, it's extremely strong. There are no red flags, and it is leading to a bit of confidence and euphoria in the broader market. And so bulls don't like the fact that, Bitcoin is selling off, and these crypto stocks topped out before Bitcoin did. And then they bottomed before Bitcoin did. They hit their bottom on Friday. And there are some red flags in these names. MARA is up right now on the screen here. And, I was playing this daily bounce, and I exited today because we failed to break this bounce high. And I look at coin. And so here's an example of me being a full-time trader, how I use this information. I say, okay, we hit the lows on Friday in these crypto stocks. Bitcoin is up 5% from its low. the NASDAQ pretty much can't be stronger the last 5 days. And so if those two things are happening and these crypto stocks can't break their bounce highs, that's a red flag. If the NASDAQ and the stock market can't be getting any stronger over the last week of trading, and we're not breaking short-term resistance, that has me preparing for the potential of another leg down. And so, a name like Coin, again, it looks like Solana in the sense that a higher low every single week and now a lower high every single week. So again, the most likely scenario for me is going to be something like that, but we don't have any confidence that the weekly higher low is being set just yet. And one thing that I often look for is a flag, a bear flag or a bull flag to confirm with no follow through, to be looking for a temporary bottom. So if Coin here were to drop down and break the low of 118 with no follow through, I would look for that to mark a temporary bottom. Just like Bitcoin yesterday had an hourly bear flag here with zero follow through, and that was the bottom. So I'm keeping an eye out where if these crypto stocks break their lows with zero follow through, I'm going to start looking for another long entry attempt after bailing today.
Yeah, I think on the short term, what we've been seeing is rebalancing of Wall Street traders and institutions that wanted exposure to Bitcoin by proxy. Now that they have the ETF, perhaps they're selling Marathon and Riot and Base, maybe just holding the actual underlying asset, or at least through an ETF. Have you put anything into this being an election year? Have you looked at all like the previous election as far as when you're charting, or is that just a little too far away? Because I know it's a re-election year, which is usually pretty bullish for the markets. Is that anything you're paying attention to?
That's a good point that you just made with regards to the shifting of the proxies. So yeah, that definitely logically makes sense as to what's going on. And I know that myself, I will, especially we're going to get leveraged ETFs eventually, and that will be even more so where I trade these miners less and move on to those ETFs. But with regards to the election year, I am paying attention. Really, for me, my experience with election years has been in the cannabis sector. And so that's where my focus has been recently. But with regards to the broader market, you can look historically, and there is some seasonality information that you can glean overall. Just like, for example, this past year, I saw seasonality where the NASDAQ closed higher by the end of the year versus the October low, something like 88% of the time in the last 52 years. That's an insane statistic where it's like, okay, there's your edge. Like you can play that probability. That's massive. And so you can look at, these election years or re-election years as potential, again, just a little piece of the puzzle where, all right, I will be looking long because of this factor and because we're in an uptrend on every time frame. So that does make sense logically. And it is something to be paying attention to, especially, there's so many different ways to play elections. You got private prison stocks like Geo, which, every time you got Obama being elected, you got Trump, you got Biden, you got the potential for Trump. It's really just a Republican-Democrat trade. And there's many different sectors that are like that, whether it's gun stocks or whatever it is. So I do definitely pay attention.
That is such a good point. When I was trading options, I made a lot of money trading defense stocks with Republicans getting ready to come in office. I made a crap load of money on Raytheon, on Boeing, Northrop Grumman.
Yeah.
And so these are all narratives that outside of crypto, if you want to make money, these are narratives that you should definitely follow. I want to ask you one more question, Dan. From your experience, there's a lot of talk about cryptos in a bubble and this bubble. Are there any indicators or technical indicators that you see or use on a chart that can maybe paint a picture of, hey, this thing's in a bubble and it's going to burst?
No, honestly, well, on the chart, it's certainly something like looking at the weekly chart and saying, all right, we haven't seen weekly consolidation in months. We know it's inevitable. And then you combine that with, RSIs. Sometimes, generally, I like, an RSI being overbought is an aspect of a strong uptrend as well. So we don't want to be relying on that too much, but historical RSI levels I use. So if I can go back and say, well, every time Bitcoin's weekly RSI gets over 83, it doesn't stay there long. That's not a good example. I'm just making it up. But I would say social media sentiment is such a major factor. So when I take into account that the weekly had not consolidated for months, and that everybody's talking about how huge a year 2024 is going to be for crypto, that's enough for me to get cautious. And so it's just little data points, not just only on the charts, it's also social media. But again, just the longer term, where I have been saying, I would not be surprised to see a tightening range. And so there's no major red flags. I'm not going to call it a bubble, because if we were to pull back to 30,000, this longer term chart would still look just fine. And it just means, if that were to happen, that would just extend the time that we're going to trade within this longer term range, because right now our range is the low of 15 and the high of 49. So the question is, how long can we trade within there? And the answer is potentially many months.
Awesome. And then one final question, Dan. Are there any setups you're looking at?
In the crypto space, I'm being pretty patient. I am, as I mentioned, I did make that long attempt on the crypto stocks, and there was some green to be had there. But as I mentioned, I did exit today because I didn't get the resistance breaks that I wanted. So that's going to keep me patient. And I exited my swing positions in crypto, my short term. Again, I got long term no touch that I don't touch, and then I exited my ETH and Bitcoin swings into the ETF, just anticipating that a sell the news was probably more likely than not. I will begin reloading those positions if we get another leg down. If we get towards daily oversold, and it's just your classic sell euphoria, buy fear, and that is what will get me interested. If we don't see another leg down, and if we change the 4-hour uptrend and this bounce heads up to 42,000, then that will tell me, okay, that's probably a temporary bottom, and I missed that initial bounce because I'm not in an aggressive mindset. But what I will do at that point is look for the entry on the next daily high or low. Oftentimes you can wait, bulls prove it to me. All right, I'll see you on the high or low, knowing we have to confirm that uptrend. Then I have a clear support level to be playing off of. So I'm in patient mode right now and seeing if we get this other leg down. But I'm definitely not looking short at this point. That's for sure.
You bring up a very key word, Dan, and that is patience. I know, my early trading days, I was not patient, and my setups were correct, but my patience was not there. Not being able to set aside your emotions on wanting to FOMO into something versus, hey, prove it to me, I'll catch you on the next lower high or on the next higher low, is going to make you a lot more money and put you in a better position in the long term. Guys, if you enjoyed the content from Dan, he's got a team of people. They have a YouTube channel. We did pin it to the top of this to the top of the chart guys on YouTube. Joins us pretty much every Wednesday. We love having him on here. Dan, thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge, and for your charts, my friend. And we look forward to bringing us seeing you soon, man.
Thanks for having me. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Thank you. All right.
I love his stuff, man.
We did
Oh,
get
a
a
new-
$50 chat.
Damn.
All right, there we go.
My boy Crypto Billy.
Dang.
I've been so just want to give a shout out to Billy, not because he gave us money, but he does a Twitter Spaces. every
If you drop
Tuesday.
us money, we won't say anything.
No, because I said it last week too. But he does a Twitter Spaces every Tuesday called Billy Goat Tales. He had Charles Hoskinson on, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Some great stuff in there, man. A lot of some of your favorite content creators and people just sharing some wisdom, sharing some life stuff, right? Life's journey, and always have a good time. I look forward to those. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely go check that out. So Billy, big thank you. Said make sure to hit the like button. And well, we're kind of locking there.
Yeah. Speaking of chat and like button, we got 270 viewers, 100 likes. And so do us a favor, hit the like button, show support for the channel. Also, if you are new here, say hello so we can acknowledge you. Say what's up. I'm dropping a whole lot back at you. We got Ashley Wells, Jason F, Soft Shell, James Finnan, Jason Caffrey, 12 Big Dal, All Set, Ginzy, and Patricio. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Trade.
Patricio, habla portugués.
Is Ashley reading all the super chats now?
Is she?
Yeah.
Well, I read this one. But
I am.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
What do you think? You want to read all the super chats today?
Gravy
I
Train.
can't read.
You can't read?
You
I can't read.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're an equal opportunity employer here. We hire people who can't read.
Okay, calm down.
Someone who can read is Kathy Wood. And here's what she had to say on CNBC about, Bitcoin's been tanking. Everyone, of course, Peter Schiff's, the Elizabeth Warrens and these people, it's going to zero. It's going. Well, guys, everyone calm down. Put this into perspective. Listen to people like Kathy Wood. Okay. Oh, and I'm muted. Let me fix that real quick. All right. We should be good to go now.
Is this a sell the news dynamic? Is something else at play here? How do you think about that now that we actually have these instruments in the market to track Bitcoin in a more material way?
Yes. Well, we're very excited that Bitcoin now is in the ETF wrapper and therefore very accessible at very low prices. What we do have, and there was speculation beforehand, will this be a sell on the news? We said yes, and then we were hearing that so much that we thought, well, maybe not. Well, it turns out that FTX is, I guess it's nearly $1 billion in GBTC, has been sold as this Bitcoin, as the Bitcoin ETF has come out. And I think that's been part of the pressure. I do think there's sell on the news because I think some people expected it to hold a little more than it has. But this has not disturbed our point of view at all. We think this is one of the most important investments of our lifetimes. This is a global rules-based monetary system. And it's a very...
That is such a powerful statement. A global rules-based monetary system. You have monetary system and policy from governments who have no rules, right? And I'll kind of show you here. Look what China's doing, right? Where's my friend China here? China, where'd you go?
China.
Ready for right here?
You ready for Trump's China again?
Oh God. China is reportedly considering a stock rescue package that could include spending 2 trillion yuan, which is about $278 billion, to prop up the equities. Right? You talk about bubbles, right? Which we have a bubble video coming out after today's live show. It's a really, really good one. Talk about bubbles. Who creates these bubbles? You can't just point at the speculators and say this is a bubble. It's the governments. They print money, and that money flows into stupid assets like junk bonds and junk stocks. So it's going to continue to happen, and we finally have something, like Kathy Wood said, a rules-based monetary currency, which is Bitcoin, that no matter how much you print, what you do, you can't make more Bitcoin. So it's pretty amazing. And then I wanted to show, so this piece of news we missed a couple days ago. I was going to show it, but didn't get around to it. But Gemini is introducing XRP perpetual contracts. So could this bring some more liquidity to XRP? We also have this update. The 9 new Bitcoin ETFs have bought over 100,000 Bitcoin in just 7 days of trading. It took MicroStrategy almost a year to buy 100,000 Bitcoin. Let's wait till FOMO kicks in. And we have this from Bitwise. Announcement today, the Bitwise ETF becomes the first US Bitcoin ETF to publish the Bitcoin address of its holdings. Now, anyone can verify the fund's holdings and flows directly on the blockchain. On-chain transparency is core to Bitcoin's ethos. We're proud to walk the walk with BitB. Here's their Bitcoin address. Interesting. Someone tweeted this, said this was going to happen.
I'm just curious. I would assume that they would diversify and mitigate risk by putting it in multiple wallets.
Doesn't look like it.
But no, they just say, hey, man, we're throwing in one wallet. We're going to safeguard this thing. Have you seen the documentary on how they on the custodial agents? And they didn't say who it was, but it's an underground bunker where you had to take. It was out in the middle of nowhere, armed security, like outside. Then you open the door and you go into like this old silo, and it goes down an elevator. You're like hundreds of feet underground, and then they have like a server that's not plugged in that operates.
I mean, we're talking billions and eventually trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
And so you have to do that. When I first got into crypto, I watched a lot of videos on what's the safest exchange to use, and Kraken kept coming up because they have something similar. They have a server base where they keep all the their hot and the cold wallets, the servers. Same thing. They're guarded by 24 hours a day, guarded by armed guards. And so good luck trying to hack into that. And so it's the same thing. And like Rob mentioned, interesting though, as these funds grow, will they diversify, or that'll be an interesting thing to see. And then we have this from BlackRock's head of iShares product on Yahoo Finance, talking about how incredibly well the ETF has gone.
By every measure, this launch has gone incredibly well. We've really seen a groundswell of interest coming from many directions. When you look at volumes, when you look at flows, when you look at how the product itself is trading, the iShares Bitcoin Trust, what we like to refer to as IBIT, has traded more than $3.5 billion since its launch just a little over a week ago. We've brought in more than $1.6 billion in flows. We're the #1 issuer, new issuer, both in terms of volume as well as flows. When you look at the spreads, we're trading at a penny wide. This is exactly what you want to see. What we're here for is to provide investors access, and that's exactly what we're doing.
So what's next for BlackRock products? I mean, does this now clear the way for consideration of an Ethereum ETF as well?
Well, it's really interesting, and thank you for the question. It's a great question because, this is really what innovation is all about. We are constantly thinking about what it is that our clients need, staying ahead of those needs. And so we're going to continue to do that. We've been at the leading edge of innovation, and we will continue to be as well. It doesn't follow a straight path. It involves risk, but that's what we're here for, and that's what we love.
A lot different than what the Vanguard CEO is saying. And then to kind of wrap this up, here is Hester Peirce, also known as Crypto Mom, talking about why she doesn't think the SEC is going to make the same mistake with an Ethereum ETF as they did with a Bitcoin ETF.
The hardest thing to square is, if it was only the case that Bitcoin ETFs got approved because of a court ruling specifically about Bitcoin ETF applicants, does that mean that, in your reading, that's going to happen to have an ETH ETF approved?
Another court case?
Yes. And an appeal and the whole process and, the battle.
That's not how we're going to do our approvals. As I've said through this process, what we need to be doing is we need to just be applying regular way consideration to these products, the same kind of consideration that we apply to similar products. And so we shouldn't need a court to tell us that our approach is arbitrary and capricious in order for us to get it right. So I certainly hope that won't be the case.
The hardest thing to
What are your thoughts on all that, Robin? As we see, obviously it's safe to say the Bitcoin ETF has been a success, right? If you only look at what's happened to the price of Bitcoin, that's the only way you can say it's not been a success. But you look at the inflows, the amount of volume it's done, the interest that we've seen from investors that have not been in the space that are now entering the space. Guys, price will eventually catch up. I promise you. That is a guarantee. You want to talk about guarantees? I guarantee you that if these inflows and volume continue, price will catch up. That is a mathematical guarantee. Stop being so damn short-sighted, okay? Second of all, if we do get an ETH ETF, what's next? Are we going to get a Solana ETF? Are we going to get like an S&P 500 style where you take the top 10 layer ones, top 10 metaverse tokens, top 10 this, like how far can this go, Robin?
Oh man, I would say I'm looking something up here as well, but the Ethereum ETF is coming. Okay, I think that after the Bitcoin ETF launch, the whole premise was, hey, you offer a futures-based product. Why not have the spot product? The courts mandated that they offer the spot product. We're in the same scenario here for Ethereum. And you got one of the commissioners coming out from the SEC saying, we're not going to make the same mistake with Ethereum. And so I just find it very hard to believe that we would get a denial on that. So that's coming. Now, my curiosity is, will we see something similar with Ethereum Trust being held by Grayscale compared to Bitcoin? Because Ethereum has a pretty large, or Grayscale has a pretty large holding of Ethereum as well. So how much Ethereum do they hold in comparison? I was trying to find it. I can't right now, or I don't have the exact numbers, but Grayscale does hold a ton of Ethereum as well. Could we find another situation where the trust goes live and you have a rebalancing with the Ethereum ETF and there's a massive sell-off again, I think it's something to consider. Or could we get a situation where the public looks at the Ethereum ETF and says it's going to be exactly the same as Bitcoin, right? They're going to say, hey, we're probably going to get a massive sell-off. Grayscale holds Ethereum. It's going to be a carbon copy, right? Sell Ethereum now before the price dumps. And then usually when the markets when the masses all are leaning a certain direction, the markets are cyclical and they go the other way, right? That's what we saw with the Bitcoin ETF. Everyone was expecting the price to rally and get to 50,000 new all-time highs. That was the circulating narrative. It did the opposite. I think what we'll see going into the Ethereum ETF is the exact opposite of that. That people will expect a bearish price movement after the ETF, but we'll actually get a rally, right? I think that would make sense.
And it'll be interesting to see. We saw a lot of hype leading up to the ETF and a lot of people buying, speculating on the hype. Will we see the same thing from Ethereum now that we have a case study of, hey, look what happened to Bitcoin? We saw people start to pile in, expecting the price to skyrocket after the ETF went live, and the price actually came down. Would we not see that in Ethereum? And would we see more of a, hey, what is this thing actually having a price on or impact on the price relative to how the thing launches and where it goes and the volume and everything? That's another interesting topic to consider. Also, big shout out to Mike Volmer. 10 gifted memberships to Sin City Crypto. Can we get a round of applause for my friend Mike there, Ashley? We appreciate all your support. Thank you guys so much. We love you. We do this for you. Robin.
Yes, sir.
A lot of ways to spend money, right? Millions of dollars here, millions of dollars, 100 million on meme coins. This is what Avalanche is doing. But there are parameters. There are parameters. From Cointelegraph, Avalanche $100 million meme coin fund, eligibility criteria. Avalanche-based meme coins wanting a slice of the $100 million fund must be at least 1 month old, among other newly unveiled criteria. It said all eligible meme tokens must have their contracts renounced, possess a low ownership concentration among whales, and have high levels of liquidity, among other requirements. The foundation noted many of its criteria were flexible, but it had a firm minimum eligibility requirements, including a minimum of 2,000 unique holders, 200,000 in liquidity from 50 different providers, and the project, quote, should be in existence for at least 1 month. Now, take away Avalanche spending money on it. Is this good for, is this going to have a indirect impact on is this going to help people not lose money to rug pulls, right? Because you can launch a coin and essentially the cream will rise to the top, right? You have people that launch tokens that aren't looking to rug pull or screw people over, but a majority of people, they launch tokens, they want to just make money, and who cares about the bag holders? Now, if you know that, hey, this meme coin got money from Avalanche, and if it's known, you know they've gone through that vetting process. Is this something to look out for, Robin? If it's got a little asterisk next to it that, hey, this received money from the Avalanche Foundation, this is a safe one to invest in. What are your thoughts on that? And how do you see this thing playing out moving forward?
I honestly, I feel like it's slightly irresponsible, right?
You think it's irresponsible?
Of Avalanche.
Why is it irresponsible?
I don't know, man. Because they're bringing awareness and trying to bring in money for meme coins which lack any utility. Now you always have the community standing up. So, well, there's the Shiba swap, and I mean, realistically, they're not looking to bank the unbanked, and meme coins realistically they start with someone trying to make some money off of quickly launching a fork of another chain. 99.99% of all the meme coins, and some of them later develop after they bring in money. Some of them later develop a roadmap and say, okay, well, actually, let's take this community and try to build something.
What's wrong with that?
I mean,
okay. I disagree with you. I think your take is a bad take, and I'll explain to you why. You're saying it's irresponsible. I think the complete opposite. I think it's very responsible. Avalanche understands that meme coins are part of crypto culture. They're not going anywhere. You see it the way the money flows. So they've identified meme coins are not going anywhere. How can we potentially protect the people that are buying meme coins on our chain. Let's launch a fund and give these projects and people who are launching these meme coins access to capital, but they have to meet certain requirements. And that'll give the investor and the person buying the meme token on the other side a little bit of relief and knowing that, hey, they've got the 2,000 unique holders. They have the liquidity. They've been around for a while. The contract's actually been renounced. Look, if I want to speculate, lower my risk, keep my reward potential high, and I'm going with an Avalanche meme coin. It's going to bring a lot of volume into the network. It's going to bring a lot of users and new wallets into the network. I think this is genius, man. I think this is genius.
I don't. I from a business standpoint, it makes sense. I'm not saying it's a dumb move, like in that regards, but I'm just looking at it from integrity and having a vision of what you want your ecosystem to be, what you want your product to be. Here's the thing: you can open up a retail store and you can probably make a lot more money selling cigarettes. But you go to Target, they don't offer. You can't buy cigarettes there. You go to Costco, you can't buy cigarettes there. That's just something they don't stand for.
You can buy.
Could
Costco.
Do they sell cigarettes at Costco?
They sell that. It's in the back corner.
Mm.
But you can only buy cartons. I don't smoke anymore.
But okay,
I get what you're saying.
But what I'm saying,
CVS made the decision to stop selling cigarettes, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that at the
meme coins aren't
majority? Now 99% of the people that buy meme coins on Avalanche are going to be in the red and lose money. There's going to be 1% of people that hit the home run, that buy at the very beginning, that exit before it goes to zero. And I just think that for Avalanche, they're trying to onboard more users. They're trying to bring in a bunch of transactions. They're trying to give money to meme coin projects to spark that ecosystem because it brings eyeballs. I get it. I'm not saying it's a dumb business decision. I just don't like it. Not myself personally. I think that if you're standing for DeFi and revolutioning, a revolution in finance, offering services and remittance payments, propping up NFTs, real tokenization of real world assets, things that we're looking forward to, things that I'm looking forward to, that blockchain solves. What isn't solved is the average investor that is not well educated in finance, or particularly in crypto, just going into a token that's massively marketed without any real use case, and then you have the chain Avalanche, the layer one, trying to prop up that ecosystem. I don't personally like it, man. That's it. That's all. That's for me. And I understand what you're saying. Hey, if you're gonna have it on your ecosystem anyways, you can't avoid it. Why not make it more safe and secure? I get that, but I'm not a fan of it. I really am, and I think that meme coins will phase out. I think they're gonna be here. They're gonna be here. They're gonna be here next bull market. 100%.
So you think after the next bull market they're gonna phase out?
I don't know when, but at some point there's going to be a
memes are life, bro. Memes are here to stay.
No, it's a fad. It's gonna
listen,
fade.
Bro. Las Vegas was built on gambling. People want a shot at changing their lives by going and gambling. Meme coins is the same thing. If I can put $100 into a meme coin and potentially make $100 grand, to me it might be worth the risk. Do I agree with it? No. I'm just saying.
There is risk reward. I get it.
That industry, those kind of people will always exist as the economy gets worse and worse, as money printing.
It'll change from what we know as meme coins to other speculative projects. And instead of meme coins, it'll be replaced by something that's comparable, that has the same financial fundamentals. It's something that's small, that's trending. I do think that the whole it's a dog pitcher thing is gonna go away, and it'll be replaced by something. And I think 10 years from now, we're gonna look back, and be like, remember when everyone was just throwing money at dog pitchers? That's gonna go away, man. It's a fad, and everyone that ever looks at anything that's extremely trending and that everyone has buzz, it always kind of subsides. Always.
I want to know what the chat thinks. Do you guys agree with Robin? Are meme coins a fad that will go away? If you think yes, put a 1. If you think no, put a 2. Also, breaking news, Ashley has said she will break out some dance moves at 250 likes.
I will.
I'm curious.
And remember, my take on meme coins is on a longer vision. I do think they're not going anywhere within the next 5 years. I truly believe that. But I'm just looking more on the longer time horizon, 5 to 10 years. So,
Okay.
What was the ones and twos? It was
One is you agree with Robin, meme coins are going to fade out. 2, meme coins are here to stay.
Okay.
So, while you guys do that, I'll do this. Arthur Hayes, Bitcoin slump will trigger a financial crisis. Hayes asserts that the recent downturn in Bitcoin's value is not just a blip on the cryptocurrency radar, but a forewarning of an impending financial crisis. His assertion rests on a complex interplay of fiscal policies, market dynamics, and geopolitical tensions, weaving a narrative that demands attention. He dissects the recent Bitcoin slump, dismissing surface-level analyses that point to outflows from traditional Bitcoin trusts. Instead, he sees Bitcoin as a harbinger of deeper economic shifts, particularly highlighting the precarious position of non-too-big-to-fail banks. So the credit union banks, the non-JP Morgans, non-Citibanks, in the face of potential liquidity crunches. What are your thoughts on that? I'll give my quick thoughts here. We saw what happened when the non-banks started to struggle. The Fed stepped in, right? Do you think the Fed wouldn't step in again? If inflation starts going up, you don't think the Fed's going to step in again? If inflation is down, you don't think Fed's going to step in again? They're already talking about 6 rate cuts this year, and we're a month in. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Rob?
Well, I mean, it's an election year. We're going to print. And, yeah, man. Fed rate, the cuts are coming, as you said. How many cuts are we going to get this year? 4, 3,
I don't see
2?
more than 3.
3?
I don't see more than 3 yet.
You don't think Biden's going to put pressure on?
Yeah, remember, Jerome Powell was put in there by a Republican, right? Jerome Powell is
Yeah, but he still works in tandem with their office. They all share the same narrative. They don't want a big shakeup, right? Ideally for the Fed, they just want a re-election, not because what happens is somebody gets elected. Because remember when Trump was in office and Jerome Powell started raising rates,
Trump threw a fit.
Trump threw a fit and said this guy has no idea what he's doing. So do you think that Jerome Powell wants Trump to come back? I don't think so, man. I'm telling you. I
Okay,
genuinely.
so your
don't.
thesis is he doesn't want Trump to come back, so he's going to prop up the economy.
It's
to give Biden a
volatility,
boost?
right? Volatility. This guy's happy with the direction. The last thing he wants is Trump to come in here, throw a fit, say there's a trade war with China again, and then
Trump will fire.
call everybody stupid, and then that's probably what you're going to get, right? And right now, you know that you got the meat puppet master himself, Joe Biden, over here,
The what?
asleep at the wheel
The
with
meat
Tesla auto drive going on with whoever's controlling that computer. Anyways, where I'm getting at is that it's probably in the best interest of the Federal Reserve to have the incumbent stay there because then they can keep their roadmap and trajectory and what they're doing on track. And I think that Trump throws a lot of wrenches into the plans there, right? And so I think the rate cuts come. I think that we get 3, 4 rate cuts. I think that we get a big ramp up right before the election, and they're just going to try to spur the economy, get people excited, and then that way Trump can get to Biden can take the podium in these debates and be like, look at the economy. It's reversed. The last time Trump was here, we had COVID and the shutdowns. Look, we're coming out of it. That's going to be their mission, right? It's going to be their battle plan, right? Spend money, give people money, and that's how you win elections, right?
Yeah, I'm
A
just
re-election.
I'm taking a look at so we're at 525 to 550. You can go throw that up there, Ash. 525 to let's go full screen so they can see the so we got 525 to 550, which I believe is where we're at now, correct? Yes, that's where we're at now. So they're saying the meeting on the 31st, we're going to stay there, right? Majority of people. Over 50% think we'll stay there in March. And then 52.9% of people think we're going to get our first rate cut in May, another one in June, and then it's almost 50-50 in July, September, November, and December. I'm thinking 2 to 3. 3 is my max. I would be very, very surprised unless something crazy happens. Unemployment rate skyrockets. I don't know.
Man,
Stock market
they'll
tanks.
find a reason, man. They'll find a reason. U.S. will be in some conflict overseas. You know, what's going on in the Middle East is ramping up pretty quick, man. You know, this whole Iran thing in the U.S., I mean, that could spiral out of control, right? I wouldn't be surprised if there's attack on a U.S. ship or something. You know, this is a crypto show, but I'm just saying that the U.S. historically, every 4 or 5 years, has some giant thing that happens that the U.S. government has to react. And usually they react by cutting interest rates to spur economic movement. So big shout out to some of the new people here. We got AZTV, Brian Panay, Crypto Stitz, Soft Shell, Cryptophasia, Cody's World, and then we got Coochie Boy back in here. I want to give a big shout out to Coochie Boy.
What up, CB?
So to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. And do us a favor. Why not get some Olas in the chat? We haven't done it in a while. Let's get an Ola train. Put OLA in the chat if you are here, like vibing, liking the show.
Run that train, my friends.
Yeah, let's see if we can get 200 Olas in the chat. I'm gonna try to count them. You think I can count?
No,
Do
please.
you even know how to count?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to count all the Olas. So if y'all put more than 200, I'm gonna lose count. So, anyways, Rusty Bot's the first one to put the Ola. So appreciate it.
While Robin is counting in his head.
1, 2.
Stop. I want to give one more shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, guys, go check out our Twitter at Sin City Crypto 1. That is where we are the most active. And if you're watching us on Twitter, hi, welcome. Come over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We post a lot of our afternoon uploads there. Speaking of afternoon uploads, today's video that'll go out to members first in the next 15 minutes. Are we in a crypto and Bitcoin bubble, as a lot of people are saying? You're going to want to watch that video to find out the answer. And then that'll go live to the public at 3:30. If you're not a member, you want early access, you want emojis, and you don't want to wait for someone to gift them to you, you want to support the channel, click that join button on your phone or use the link in the description of this video. And with that being said, before Robin starts counting and being really
Trying
cringe.
to count, man. I'm at like 40.
Wow. Ashley, wait, before I tornado us out of here, anything you want to add, Ashley?
I got
How do you feel about
nothing.
today's show? Is today's show good?
It was good.
Who had better takes today? Was it Big Rob or Lil Dave?
I am bigger than you in every measure.
Neither.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very politically correct answer. Ashley, who
you.
pays you?
Both of you.
No, who physically pays you?
Okay.
Both of you.
Anyways, that'll do it for today's show. And with that being said, Ashley, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you gained some knowledge and value out of today's show. Come back tomorrow. It's going to be an even better show. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO